of the Drunk Nerds podcast. I am your host for this week, the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Colonel Gables. And let me tell you something, Tyler. I am fucking beat. And not just like in a good way either, man. It's like I feel exhausted from the work week. It's been one of those weeks and stuff where it's like you had so many people with their garage sales doing this and that, and it's like you have so many people you got to help in an individual time, but at the same time, it's like it progressively got better, obviously, and honestly, I'm just so glad just to be off of work because just being kind of stressed in that regards, was just like it is what it is. But that's not the best part of this week. No, the best part of this past week was a surprise that happened this morning, and that actually came from the IRS. Now,
That's
from
never something I thought I'd ever hear in my life. A good surprise from the IRS. Okay.
well, here's the thing. I've been hearing about over the past month that potentially when people got their unemployment stuff from being out from like COVID and stuff like that, that the whole unemployment stuff was not supposed to be taxed. Well,
Yeah.
when I did my tax filing and stuff, those things were taxed, and
Yeah.
I got a good boost. I got money in my freaking bank account. I got like an initial $1,200 like this week. I'm like,
Nice.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. So like that's what my parents did because my dad gets laid off in the wintertime because he drives like construction trucks, and that like I think there was like up to $10,000 they didn't tax you on. So my parents filed in like January, and that law didn't come into place until like I think it was like March. So I waited until, or it was like maybe February or something like that. I waited until after it went through, and so I wasn't taxed for my unemployment I had, or the 10,000 or whatever it was. Um, so when I did it, I already got all that money then. But my parents, that's what my dad said. It took a couple months, but he ended up getting a check for a good chunk of money. So that's
Damn.
awesome, buddy.
Well, yeah, it's like always a bit of fun just to wake up, check your bank account. It's like, whoa, hey, some a little bit
Yeah.
extra. Hey, I wasn't expecting that. But anyways, what you are hearing, listeners, my co-host, the resident ginger, Tyler Courtney. How's it
Hey,
going, man?
buddy. I'm doing all right. It's funny being on this side of it now, where you hit me up the other day. It's like, hey man, can we do something a little different? And I host. I'm like, go right ahead, buddy. That's cool with me. It's kind of fun being on this side of the side of the fence. I feel like was it Tim Allen's neighbor in from Home Improvement? Hi, dilly ho there, neighbors. Wait, no, that's Simpsons. That's Simpsons. Wrong guy. Wrong show. Wrong
You go
neighbor from
from
the
freaking
'90s.
Home Improvement to The Simpsons. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, cross contamination. Oh, something happened in left field.
Yeah. I went from was it Mr. Wilson to Ned Flanders there? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Uh, I'm doing okay. It's Saturday night. I'm hooked now. It started as a joke. I'm drinking out of my Last of Us Part 2 cup here, by the way. It started as a joke of me drinking these Gatorade vodka drink. I have Tito's vodka in here. It started as a joke last week of doing it because like I mentioned, if you didn't listen last, it's a talking ship joke. It's called I just totally spaced. What is it? Um,
The
Dinky
talk.
Dinky Doodle. Well, yeah, the Dinky Doodle is what it's called. We used to make fun of somebody for drinking these all the time, Gatorade and vodka, and I did it as a joke last week. And you know what? It's kind of good. I drink. I got a pretty good buzz on last week from it, but I also got all my electrolytes. So it's like you're kind of like you always like when they say when you get drunk you don't want to get that hangover. You always want to have drink a bunch of water and shit like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, you're doing both. You're getting drunk and you're make sure you are keeping the electrolytes and your body hydrated. So I gotta
Oh,
say it's a
yeah.
win-win. So when does the Tito's kick in and the Gatorade kind of fall out? I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm doing fine. It's Saturday night. Gables, we are a week away from E3.
Oh, boy,
Um,
howdy, man. It just feels so fucking exciting. Man, I cannot wait. I got the week off. I got things that I can go through and just scope upon, like reading a bunch of rumors, watching a bunch of YouTube videos. That's been one of my main things from this past week was in preparation for our prediction show, which will be actually recorded right after we finish our main show right here. But for
mhm.
you, the listeners, it will definitely be sooner than that. With that being said, if you guys want to go ahead and listen to us We are on a multiple different bunch of platforms, obviously. Let me go forth and get this thing up because you know how I am with my memorization. Anyway, so for our platforms, come on, Google Doc. It always does a little bit different than when I go through it.
Yeah, you never on the are you using the app?
I'm actually using the Google Doc app because I'm
Yeah,
actually logged
it's
into that.
yeah, me too. I use it on my phone a lot, like when I come up with like things to talk about on the show, and it's definitely hit or miss how quickly it wants to work. I do I don't have them all posted in the Google Doc yet, but I do have a run through of some of the stuff we're on um, right now. If you want me to run through them real fast.
You want to go ahead and run through? That's fine.
Yeah. So we are on. Well, we're not on Apple Podcast yet. I'm still going back and forth with Apple support. Gable's heard me fucking bitch and moan about that for about 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes before the podcast. Right now we're on Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcast, Overcast, Radio Public, Spotify. We are on Anchor. That's our sponsor for this show. So check them out. But we're on there. We're on Ghana is a thing. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on basically anything except for Apple Podcasts right now. That's the one big one. It's a pain in the ass. It takes them a week to get back to you, and they don't give you the answer you want. So then I got to respond back to them the next day, and then I got to wait another fucking week. Like I literally sent them a thing on Friday, and it took them till Thursday to get back to me, and then I responded to them on Friday. So now I'm probably gonna hear back from them on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. So that's where we're at. Hopefully
Well,
by next E3 I'll have it ready to go.
well, hell, man. I mean, those are the breaks. I mean, the technical little snags or something like that. Are just always so freaking annoying when it comes up to it. But
Yeah.
want to say special hello to our listeners on Ghana that, like Tyler was just mentioning and stuff. We just added ourselves, our podcast, our show to the Ghana service. Hello, everyone in India. Thank you for listening. Please, if you like what you're going through, just send up a like, star us, whatever. But
We're not
everyone
laughing at
else,
India or Ghana. It's just I
no,
showed him our breakdown of where our listens come from, and it is insane how many listeners we have in India. That's all I'm gonna say. It is
hell,
insane.
we
No, we
appreciate
do. I'm not
everybody.
making fun.
I'm just saying, it's just
But what?
it's so fun. It's so fun just to look at like how or like where at people are, where they're listening to us from, how many plays we get per episode, and this and that. It's just fun all the way around. I love the little
Yeah,
logistics of those things.
yeah.
But to move on, I know I just had a little pause, but to move on and stuff, let us get in to what we have been playing for this week. And I'll tell you what, Tyler, it's pretty much the same as last week.
Same here.
One game, Mass Effect 2. So for Mass Effect 2, what to continue on from last week, I was fairly early. I was like around 7 to maybe 10 hours into the game, only did a couple of missions. Let me tell you something. I did a hell of a lot in Mass Effect 2. I was playing it, I kid you not, for like a week or two straight. My final time of me going through and beating Mass Effect 2 was around 41 hours and some odd minutes. I did all of the loyalty missions, went through all of the side missions, and I'm happy to report I got the Platinum Trophy for Mass Effect 2.
Nice, nice.
Platinum number 6 for this year. That honestly is amazing in and of itself, and I'm glad because, believe it or not, this marks my 30th Platinum Trophy, so it's a marquee thing. Man, every bit of this game feels much more emphasized than when I did play through the game twice. Once on the Xbox 360, the other on the PS3. It just tells you just how great of experience Mass Effect 2 is. Not just because of the gameplay, and let me tell you, man, the squad-based gameplay and stuff definitely a better improvement upon the original. I actually found so many fun little quirks in each and every character that I had a chance to experiment with my crew. Like, for example, given an example from last week when I was combining Miranda and Jacob's little biotic attacks and stuff, like Jacob using pull and then Miranda using warp and just a big old explosion. Or like when I was using things like, say, for, no, even like Jack and also like Jacob and stuff, just like finding out the combinations of each squad member on top of experimenting and abusing like their hidden status abilities in that regards when you finally earn their loyalty through different missions. Yeah, that was fun, especially when you just try out like ones in the random missions. Like for example, Grunt's fortify ability. Oh, man, God bless. He's like a freaking tank, just charging in, just going through with a shotgun and stuff. How I did my character builds, I just went with 3 of the 4 stats, like categories and stuff, just maxed them out. I hit cap. I actually hit the level cap
Me too.
after 30. I'll just say this beforehand and stuff. It's much more easier to hit the cap in Mass Effect 2 than it was in Mass Effect 1.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I had like 2, 3 levels or something till cap. Tyler, I believe you had like at least a couple.
I was at 20. I was at 28, close to 29, but I done every mission in the game, besides collect all of like the dog tag type shit.
But to piggyback off of what you said last week in regards to some of the content from Mass Effect 2, the Shadow Broker DLC, that whole experience, man, it's even better than what I remembered for that. All the intricacies about what the information and stuff, the whole Asari Spectre and this and that. And yes, listeners, I am going to be going into spoilers in regards to Mass Effect 2. I mean, it's been out since 2009, so it's like, But those that are listening in, feel free to skip ahead if you don't want things spoiled.
Mm.
But yeah, the Shadow Broker DLC, all the story elements in that regards, I thought it was kind of funny because I chose the relationship option with Liara in Mass Effect 1 in that playthrough,
Samesies.
and I did that for I actually did not choose a romantic thing in Mass Effect 2. I forgot to talk with Miranda in that regards before setting off the mission. I'll tell you what was hilarious though. I tried doing that after like the end game because it has you continue on. Fun fact: after I did that conversation and stuff like that, it played the cutscene up before you go to the suicide mission,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
so weird because it was after we completed the darn thing. And what's even more weird, I came across a glitch. And I'll tell you what the glitch, man. Once I chose it, my screen just went black and it
Hmm.
would not reappear. And I had to turn off the game.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
But another quirk that ended up happening was in the final battle against that giant humanoid like Reaper and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was at one point I see Jack, who's with I basically had Miranda and Jack with me in that final battle. I see Jack glitched coming up like on the platform like in front of me where we're not supposed to go up, right? And she's like about 5 feet in the air, right? Just shooting, just shooting at like a bunch of collectors inside of a swarm or something by like a different platform. That lasted all for about a good solid like 5 to 10 seconds until like the next phase of the boss battle began and stuff. That final boss is still a fucking pushover. I mean,
Yeah. It's a really bad final boss. I beat it
yeah,
in like 2 minutes. It was really
yeah,
disappointing. I remember it being bad. I remember it not being good, but I didn't remember it being this bad.
that's here's the thing. The most challenging part about that is going through and enduring the onslaught of the collectors leading up
Yeah.
to that. That was
Which
more
is
difficult than the final boss
yeah.
itself.
I mean, which is something you've done 10,000 times already. Is killing
I'll
collectors.
tell you
So
what. When we played and we went through the entirety of Mass Effect 1 and faced off against Saren, like the indoctrinized Saren and stuff,
mm,
after you kill him and stuff like that, that was much more of a challenge, even though he was a bit of an asshole because he would freeze you in place in that
mm,
regards and like just do this and that. For the final battle for Mass Effect 2, I mean, yeah, you have a humanoid Reaper, you have this and that and stuff, and you have chances to destroy the projectile from his mouth because he'll power up and do this. But other than that, though, you're just waiting for him to climb back up and stuff in order, and try to
yeah.
attack it this and that. But the thing that the battles I enjoyed most throughout this playthrough were more or less the in the loyalty missions. The most interesting like loyalty missions that I loved Grunt's loyalty mission because not only do you go through this whole rite of passage and you have to fight through these hordes of like enemies after enemies and stuff, but I think it was like these insect like monsters like clinics or something or
Yeah.
clinics or whatever the
I
hell.
think Clint. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
It was a weird name. I
Yeah.
could not
Only time you ever
even
see
say
him is in
that.
that mission.
Actually, the only time you would see that besides that mission is like in random worlds that you go through and explore just
Oh.
off the
Okay.
cuff. because the second thing that I did, I actually explored every system,
Me too. Yeah.
every planet, every system. I did not mine all the planets because I did not need
No.
to at that
No.
point, since my resources for most of them were like over like 400,000.
Yeah,
And it's like,
I looked up the max amount you need for each, and I was
mhm,
already like 2/3 of the way done with like all the upgrades, what you need the resources for
yep,
mining planets to do the upgrades. And like I said, I'm 2/3 of the way through the upgrades, and I look at how much I have. I have like 400,000 plus for everything. So I just Google like how much do I need of each to get everything, and you needed like 300,000 of each thing. And I'm like, all right, I'm almost done upgrading, and I already have way more than I'll need for the entire game. So I just stopped at that point.
yeah. At that point, it almost got as repetitive as traveling around the Mako, inside the Mako and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
traveling on planets itself. It almost got to that point with me. The only thing that was really engaging is that particular surprise element of, oh, I can actually land on this, and maybe I'll get into like a extra mission or something like that accomplished out of it.
Yeah.
But other than that, loyalty missions with Grunt, the whole Thresher Moss stuff, that was funny. That was funny for me because I just literally just destroyed this Thresher Moss since I was so leveled up by that
Yeah.
point. But
I
let's
had
see.
the heavy weapon that is a nuclear bomb. One
Oh,
shot
the
kill.
cane. Yes,
Yeah,
I
that was
tried
one
that.
shot kill.
The first time I tried that, I was too close and I was
Yeah,
just fucking incinerated.
it will. Yeah, even if like you shoot it from pretty far away, it could still damage you pretty good. But yeah, if you're not shooting from like across the fucking map, it will
Mhm.
kill you.
Oh, no shit. You have to be so far away in order for that. But
Yeah,
I
you're
used it
literally
like
shooting a nuclear
three
bomb.
times. Yes, I've used it like maybe three times. Once and got killed. The other two times, there was narrow corridors in a section. I was
Oh
far
god.
enough away, and I took out most except for like one soldier. One soldier that just miraculously was hiding at just the right spot. But my favorite heavy weapon was actually the collector particle beam.
Oh, yeah, that
That
was good
one,
too.
that one was a fun one because you could literally just waste away shield and armor and health
Yeah.
like it was just nothing. That was my main heavy weapon of choice when I played against the final boss, and also in regards to like the scions and stuff like that. The
I
whole
used that against the
it's
like Kasumi's loyalty mission. We had to
mm-hmm.
fight the ship, like
Yep.
the like anytime you had to use a fight a ship,
Uh,
like that thing just fucking killed it in seconds.
but yeah, those loyalty missions, I actually really like the loyalty missions in regards to Thane and for Garrus. I mean, Jesus Christ, for Garrus, man, that was sad to a degree because it's like here he is trying to clean out a whole bunch of things in Omega and stuff, like a lawless like thing and stuff, and most of his squad's killed off and like this and that, and it's bittersweet, but because of those bittersweet moments when I went through my final initial thing for the impossible mission, and once we went into that whole collector base, I made sure that for like the secondary team and also the decoy team that he was captain of both of them.
Nice.
But yeah, what exactly like did you enjoy most about your playthrough of Mass Effect 2?
Um, I mean, really, I mean, it's like that corny joke is like such and such. The real fun is the friends you made along the way. And like you
Mm,
always hear that about stuff like the corny joke. But in this game, it's very much true. Like where like it's the friends you made along the way of the journey. That's the fun of this game. It's like some of the main missions of this game, like you do, are not the. I mean, they're not bad, but they're like it's kind of like in Mass Effect One, even to a certain extent, where like some of the side missions in Mass Effect One, even though like maybe the mission itself wasn't the most fun, the
yes.
interactions with the characters and the your characters in your party or the characters in the game, uh, were some of the best parts. And I feel that same way with this one, where like the main missions were probably the weakest point. It's kind of like the more I played this game, the more I thought of Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
Honestly, where it's
really?
like,
Why is that?
well, so it's like you can do the suicide mission, the last mission, at any point in time.
Yes.
Obviously, but like if you do that, people will die.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple people, even Commander Shepard, can die in this game. If like, so like any point you can literally finish the game.
Okay.
The more and it's like the more about you do it's like everything else is like doing not the, what's the shrines, doing the loyalty quest, do like mining for materials, upgrading stuff. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
literally it really is like Breath of the Wild, but 7-8 years before Breath of the Wild. I mean, obviously two totally different types of games, but
Right.
like the style and the way it flows is like at any point I can just go beat this game whenever I want. But it's
Well,
like,
you bring up a good point, but that kind of like aspect, that type of variety, kind of reminds me of another game that I have played through and I remember quite fondly, and that's Chrono Trigger, because you
oh,
could do somewhat of the same thing, you know, when you can instantly travel to the final boss battle, like in 1999, the like Lavos and stuff, and try to beat him at any point during the game you can. But the best chance you'll actually go through and do is you complete all the main quests and side quest stuff.
hmm.
But another question about Mass Effect 2 for you. What were the squad members you loved using the most?
For the most part, I'm always using Garrus because he's my
Okay.
dad. He's my baby daddy. Always will be. I love him so much. Um, I always brought him with me, even though sometimes some missions he wasn't the best. I was like, I'm Garrus around. Um, sometimes you just need some. You need to be the little spoon, and he's always the big spoon. Um, so he's my favorite, and then it always kind of bounced around from there. Like sometimes I just kind of jump around. Like I think Jack overall was like, because I always wanted to have that person. I always wanted to have someone that had some abilities. Like so, Garrus had some tech abilities, but all aren't biotic, whatever. He had some abilities, but then I always wanted to have someone that had like tech or biotic abilities. So I usually would jump around between like Tally, who I end up romancing was Tally. Honestly, I pretty much fucked everybody. I fucked Jack, I fucked Kelly, I fucked Liara, I fucked fucking Tally. So I was a mad daddy pimp in that game. Um, I was gonna do Miranda, and then I was like at the last minute, Tally started coming on to me, and I'm like, I didn't even know. I didn't. I probably knew back then, but I didn't remember she was an option. And she's like in a suit, like she can't come out of the suit because she'll die because her
Right.
body, like their immune system, like their species immune system is so weak that they can die from like leaving their suit. Um, so I'm like, oh man, maybe I'll actually see her face. You don't get to see her face. Like when they have the sex scene, I'm using quotations for people that can't tell in
Uh-huh.
the audio version. It's literally like you just take the mask, you take the front part of the mask off, but the camera is showing the back of her head, and then you just
Oh,
fall back on the bed and it cuts away. So that's it. There's nothing there. Uh, but like, um, yeah. So yeah, like usually Tally or Jack was my two favorites. Miranda was pretty good too because she's kind of balanced between biotic and using just basic weapons. Um, yeah, I mean, I think overall though, like coming out of it, I thought even though like Jacob was probably the character I used the least, he was probably my favorite. I came out coming out of it, he's probably one of my favorites as well of the loyalty missions. He's my favorite. Kasumi's is probably actually my ultimate favorite, and which is crazy because she's a fucking DLC character that was added like a year after the game came out. So, and she was
oh
the first one I
yeah.
did. She's the first character I added to my party. She's the first loyalty mission I did. Because I remember enjoying it, but I was like, oh man, like it's basically just a heist mission. And I was like,
It
man,
is.
it's so different from everything else in the game.
Right.
Cause I mean, for the most part, it's like all about like they have it's all about these guys have unfinished business, and it's like a lot of them are like, I gotta protect, I gotta figure out what happened to my dad, or like, or I thought my dad was dead, and I got this message from him, or oh, something bad's about to happen to my sister, I need to go fucking do this, and like some of them were pretty good. I thought like Samara's was good too. I really overall, I'm not thinking about it. Like there wasn't really like Zaid's is probably my least favorite, just because like you don't like if you do the Paragon thing, you don't actually like because you're pretty much going through and like there are some where like you complete the mission and you don't get their loyalty. And like they don't like part of the like you want to have everybody's loyalty because if you don't have the loyalty going to the suicide mission, that raises the chances of them dying in that mission. So you go
Right.
through you basically do like the loyalty mission is like unfinished business, and it's like you do this for them, and like they have your backs no matter what kind of thing. And some of these missions like you can actually fuck them up, or you do the wrong thing or whatever, and they don't follow you. Like Garrus, you can make the decision and his whether or not to like to let this person go or kill this person, or like Zaid's like you can let this person go or kill this person. Um, it's like if you do the wrong thing, or if you pick the thing that pisses them off, but you don't have enough points, like your Paragon or Renegade level, you can like earn it back, or like it's or like your characters get into a fight, and if you don't have like you're not at a certain level, um, like you could lose the loyalty. You have to pick a side, or if your level's high enough, you can just like get in the middle and not lose anybody's, which is
Right.
that's where I like to stay. I'm like it's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like Boyle. He's always in the middle. And that's where I like to be. Always in the middle. Usually I'm in the. I really like to be in the middle of Jack and Tally, but I mean whatever. Um, yeah. So and really honestly, Garrus. If I can just have a clone Garrus and just have two Garruses be be in the middle. Oh boy. There's a Garrus body pillow you can buy in the Mass Effect store.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and it was on sale for $25 the other day, and it was in my cart. I had everything ready to go, and then it was $10 shipping. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not paying $10 shipping. That was where I stopped, because otherwise I would have a Garrus body pillow right now if it wasn't for that.
He'll be standing right behind you. I'm like, what the fuck is
Gables, he would be as
that?
stiff as a fucking board in a week, and I'm not gonna explain why. You just know, you just know. Um, yeah, but no, it's
Oh,
a great game. It's I mean, I definitely felt some fatigue at the end, but it was more so just because like I kind of talked about it a little bit this last week. I took like a break, like a week away, and I was kind of like playing it like because I mean the first like 8 days, 9 days it was out, Mass Effect Collection. I was putting like I would literally get off work and play until I went to bed, and then my days off I would basically play for 6 8 hours a day. So I kind of took like a week off to like I need to stop this. Um, and my playing I beat it. I kind of like the last I was like 25 hours in when I did that. It took me like 34 to do everything. Did all the
wow.
DLC, did all most of the missions. Like I beat the game. Everybody survived. Um, so I was like, man, I put like 60 hours into this fucking game. And like I mentioned, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where my plan was to take a break after I beat two, especially because Final Fantasy 7 DLC is out on
Yep.
Thursday, and then we got Ratchet and Clank on Friday. So it's like
Yep.
I don't want to rush three. And it was I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, because like some stuff's come back to me, but it's like I still I remember the first hour and the last hour, and maybe an hour in between of Mass Effect 3. Like it is like so like I was thinking like you always hear that question of like if you could do that Men in Black like blinky thing where like the flashlight and you erase your memory, and it's like if you can erase your memory of any game, what would it be? You could play it again for the first time. And it's like a lot of people answers is the Mass Effect trilogy. And for me that'd be the same thing, but it's like for in a way it's like my brain has already done the blinky thing for Mass Effect 3. It's like where it's like you forgot everything but the beginning, the first hour and the last. So it's like as a
That's
game,
fairly true.
I'm gonna want to take my time with. I don't want to rush it because I rushed. I think that's part of the reason why is I beat the game in like a week um, when it first came out because I was so worried about spoilers for Mass Effect for the game for the end that I just flew through it and didn't do barely any of the side quests and do it. They didn't really enjoy it. Just flew through it. So I want to after we got a couple big games coming up this week and then
Yes.
after that it's like there's not a whole lot. Like we got Mario Golf, but that's not gonna be a game. It's gonna take it. That's not a huge time sink for me. So I, maybe in a month I'm gonna take a break off, and maybe in like a 3 weeks a month or so, I'll jump back into it if there's, barring anything from E3, there's nothing crazy. But yeah, Mass Effect 2 still one of my top five favorite games of all time.
Oh, most definitely. And the thing I learned most from replaying Mass Effect 2 is I understand fully why I felt so strongly when it came to that game being one of my top like games of that generation.
Yeah, it was my game of the generation for that generation. So
Hmm. But in closing and stuff like that, one final thing I'll say about in terms of Mass Effect 2, I mean, I loved a, like most of what I did go through. Some little inklings here and there, some glitches, some little like repetitive stuff here and there with the mining and stuff. I loved having characters like Miranda on my squad. I mean, I liked it because she had the warp ability, go through different barriers. I had Morden a lot, honestly, at some points because
oh yeah,
the incinerate ability in regards because I was still early game trying to get like enemy armors all burnt out and this and that. But the thing I enjoyed most was no one died. I got all the loyalty missions like done, all the loyalty of everyone. That was important because for my last playthrough of Mass Effect 2, I did not get all the loyalty missions done.
oh
Like
wow, okay,
Zaid's, I think was the one that I did not get
yeah,
on the last playthrough of Mass Effect 2. So I finally got his because I got the Paragon option because I actually had enough Paragon during that time to do that. No one died during the final mission. I chose pretty much, let's see, for first thing, for leader for the recon team and stuff is Garrus. Then I went with the decoy kind of thing with Garrus and stuff. Tally was the tech expert. I mean, she was one of the best for the going through evacuating the crew back to the Normandy and stuff. That
I
was
did Morden
Morden.
for that one. Yeah,
Yeah, Morden is definitely the best choice for that option in that regards because there any other type like Morden or maybe even Tully in that regards. But any other type of things, a lot of those guys are going to die,
yeah. Yeah,
unfortunately.
I took. That's why I took. Because when you do like with the end, when you pick two to go with you, and you have the rest stay back for defense, and it's like okay, I remember like you always want to take two weaker characters with you to the final boss because a it's super easy, and b those characters are more likely to die in the like defending you while you're doing the final boss. So I took
Right.
um, Kasumi and I took Tally with me. So
Okay.
which I mean the last fight is fucking brain dead easy anyway. So it's like I didn't really I could
Yes.
have brought a fucking ham sandwich and my dog and I would have done just fine. But the biggest fear what I had was just Louis jumping off the side. He'd be like, oh look at that over there, and he's just gone. I'm like, ah fuck.
But as for Mass Effect 3, I'm undecided whether if I want to start the game at this moment. I've already have spent over 50 hours in regards to playing Mass Effect. Actually, 41 hours of Mass Effect 2, 31. So it's over 70
Yeah,
hours I've
I
played
think
of Mass
I was
Effect.
about 60 between the two, and yeah, you're about 70. That makes sense. So,
But yeah,
well, I mean, so sorry to bounce off Mass Effect. Are you planning on getting Ratchet on Friday?
I'm thinking about it at
Okay.
this point in time. I'm thinking about it, but it all depends upon what I want to do because I'm not really for sure what I want to play next.
Okay.
I'm basically go upon like how I feel.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just going to be a random thing where it's going to pop in. Oh, you know what? I feel like playing this.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
to
I've
move on,
already got my copy preloaded. I'm fucking primed and ready to go. Sorry. Go on.
awesome. Oh yeah, man, no problem. But to move on and stuff, let's get into some gaming news, and it's going to be some interesting ones, and it's predominantly PlayStation for this week because there were some bangers that did get like go through and when a lot of news and regulation stuff came out, especially for God of War Ragnarok,
Mm-hmm.
because unfortunately, God of War Ragnarok is getting delayed until 2022, and it's confirmed to be cross-gen, so it's going to be released on the PS4 and the PS5 simultaneously. Personally, I understand they want to delay the game to make sure to get all the quirks and all the glitches and all the things to try to make it the best possible quality. It's kind of interesting that they would go through with the PS4 version, but it is
Yeah.
completely understandable considering the user base is incredibly larger than the PS5 at current.
Yeah.
So,
Um.
what would you?
It's just so weird to me. Like, because we don't know what the timeline is for this, for God of War when it's coming out.
Mm,
But it's something I mentioned this on the podcast after they revealed God of War Ragnarok and said 2021. I'm like, that's not happening. So like,
yeah,
but there's always that like little bit in my head where I'm like, okay, like I know it's not going to happen, but what if kind of thing. So I'm
mm,
happy it's just like that what if factor is just gone now. Where it's like, it's like I already knew, prepared myself. It's not happening 2021. It's 2022, but it's like there's a little thing in your head saying it still might happen. So you just got that hope. It was kind of like I think a lot of people are with Breath of the Wild too, where it's like we're
right.
probably all assuming 2022, but there's that little bit of hope, like that little bit of hope you have 2021, and it's just like you just want to know at a certain point. It's like just rip the band-aid off, just tell me, and I'm happy. I'm just happy that it's happening. That okay, we don't have a window, we just know a year. But it's like, are we talking first half, second half? Because like we'll get more into some of the other stuff that was coming out of that. So I listened to the whole. Actually listened to the interview with Herman Holst.
Mm-hmm.
Herman Holst, I think is his name. He's the head of PlayStation. But I listened to the whole like interview he did talking about everything. And, yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm fine with. I mean, obviously, I'm fine with it. And like he talked about like the big issue for them for COVID was like it's already a difficulty like working from home and just dealing with COVID and everything in between. But it's like the big issue was like we can set up recording studios in all our voice actors homes or wherever they go, but we can't do motion capture, and that's the biggest thing for a game especially like that where it's
Yes.
a it's so um, story focused on everything they do, and like that's a big thing with like PlayStation games and a lot of games, but especially like PlayStation first party. Look at like you watch some of those documentaries like about Uncharted, like the Naughty Dog
Yep.
games, or Horizon, or God of War. It's so big on motion capture um, that like they said like either we put it at the end and the quality is not going to be as good, or we just push it and we give everybody the amount of time without killing our staff. And it's like they said all the right things. And it's like I said, I'm totally. I mean, I was already expecting it for 2022. I'm just happy that we got it. We got the news at least. Okay, cool. All right, I don't need to expect it anymore, or I don't have that like what if in the back of my head. The PS4 cross-gen thing, I like I said, we get it. There's 115 plus million, probably 120 at this point PS4s, um, and there's probably 10 million PS5s. A year from now, maybe 2025 PS5s, they can get if we can get semiconductors out there again for all these devices to be made. Um, I don't know. It's just so weird though. When you hear about like, when the like we always talk about like, oh, it makes we get that like, oh, they games stick around for a long time in the old consoles, but it's when you hear about like Miles Morales, where it's like that game is selling extremely. It's always in the MPDs every month since it's been out. Usually in the top. It's always in the top 10, but like no one said the percentage exactly, but it's almost not. It's mostly PS5. It's kind of the evergreen thing where we always talk about Nintendo. When people buy a Switch, they
Yes.
buy fucking Mario Kart. It's like when you buy this console, you buy this game. Miles Morales is kind of that thing for PS5, where it's like, or like Breath of the Wild. When you buy a Switch, you got Breath of the Wild when that first came out. It's like, yeah, it was on Wii U, but nobody really bought it. It didn't really. I mean, obviously the Wii U install base was smaller, but not a lot of people bought it on the Wii U. It mostly sold. Kind of the same thing with Twilight Princess. Not a lot of people bought it on the GameCube.
No.
Almost all the sales came from Wii, and that's
Yep.
just where we're at. Where it's like once a new thing comes out, for most people, if they can't get their hands on a PS5, even though okay, oh cool, I can play Miles Morales PS4, but it's like I'm just gonna wait till most people they're gonna wait for PS5, and that's I think where it's at. Where it's like I like I said, I get it, but it's I don't know. I don't want to be like that. Like it's easy for me to say because I have a PS5, you know, but it's I don't know. I just I feel like at a certain point, when are we gonna? I mean, these are 2022. These will be 9-year old consoles, and they were
Mm.
the PS like, when the big complaint about PS4 and Xbox Ones when they came out is that they were already 2 years behind when they came out in 2013.
Oh
So
man, that's
it's
so
like
crazy with that perspective, man.
yeah,
Almost 9 years.
yeah. So you're talking about this thing came out in 2013, but it was running on
Yep.
2011 technology. And
Yep.
it's like so basically what you're talking 10 years old technology at this point. So it's like what I played Final Fantasy 7 on a fucking PS4 Pro, and I've
Mm.
told the story about my PS4 Pro was running so fucking loud that it woke my now ex, but my then girlfriend, who was sleeping in the back room. It was running so loud, it woke her up from a dead sleep. I had my headset on blasted, I couldn't hear it, but it literally sounded like an airplane was landing in my fucking living room. That's how loud it was. So I don't even want to fucking imagine where these games that are gonna be playable on. We're talking Horizon, Gran Turismo, and God of War being playable on on mostly for PS5 consoles. We're gonna downgrade these fucking things to a 10-year-old console. I don't even want to
No.
fucking know how these things are gonna run.
I know it's going to be fairly interesting, but the two things I'm thinking about is like one, if they're going to do the motion capture, who have they got to replace Shad Gaspard? I mean, Shad was the guy that was mocapped and stuff like that for the original God of War.
Yeah,
For
well, no,
uh,
the original God of War 3.
oh, really?
Not the God of War 2018. He was
Oh,
God, what was that? It's the fucking oh Jesus. I could see the title Stargate. He was in Stargate.
okay.
He's I watched a documentary on him. He always did Indeed. That was his big thing.
Oh,
But yeah, he's a big dude. I wouldn't want to fuck with him. But yeah, no. So I think Shag Gaspar did God of War 3, but he did not do 2018.
okay, that's good to know. I definitely mixed a couple of things because I was in the impression that he did the mocap thing for God of War 2018.
Mm.
But the second thing I want to mention when I see God of War Ragnarok and stuff, and I could see them delaying it, they've delayed it until 2022. What that kind of says to me and stuff is like this could potentially be a game that's going to release in the later half of 2022. It's definitely of the quality where they want to make sure everything's on par. The articles that which you've read and like watched in regards to making sure they got a whole bunch of the actors all together, make sure they get the mocap thing just right because they haven't been able to because of the whole COVID stuff. Yeah, I could see a late 2022 release in regards for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
If honestly, if I had to make a guess in which month, it's probably going to be like maybe a September or October release. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, PlayStation, so they tried so hard to avoid holiday at this point. I mean,
yeah,
last year was an anomaly just well because they had a new console, so they wanted to launch with big games. But you see for like outside of I mean, since I think Little Big Planet came out in like Little Big Planet 3 came out in like October
yep,
of or November of like 2014. Other than that, they have not released a game in that in outside Spider-Man is the only first party PlayStation game that has come out September or later in a year since 2014. That came
That's
out. That came out
very true.
the Friday after Labor Day. So it was like early September. And ever since then, I mean, we see them. They put Ghost of Tsushima out in fucking July. It's like they know they put a game out, it will sell. We now know that. It's not like it was 2 generations ago where it either had to come out in the first quarter of the year or had to come out in the last quarter of the year. There was, I mean, if you came out in between there, that it was an indie game or that game it didn't matter. So
But anyway, speaking of games that are delayed, this is the second one this past week that we learned about, and that was Gran Turismo 7.
yeah,
Gran Turismo 7 has also been pushed into 2022 and is also cross-gen. Kind of the same response in regards to God of War Ragnarok. I understand why they delayed it. I mean, Gran Turismo in general, that franchise always takes so much time to not only make the games, make the cars, make the models and everything look fantastic, but at the same time, there's all sorts of various content that's pushed inside of this simulation racer in that
mm-hmm.
regards. So getting Gran Turismo right, especially the seventh iteration, and doing whatever you can and stuff like that, that's very much important. That's a marquee like a game inside of Sony's history. So getting Gran Turismo right and kind of avoiding things that they had been from past iterations and stuff, yes, I understand. Giving it a little more time in the oven, yeah, that's definitely understandable. I'm just kind of wondering when that thing will actually release then. I
Yeah,
mean, jeez, man.
yeah,
Definitely love another car game that's fun on the PS5.
yeah. But I mean, it's not a Gran Turismo game unless it gets delayed at least 5 times.
Very
Um,
true.
I mean, that's just been the mo of Gran Turismo games is delayed. Like there's more articles about Gran Turismo being delayed than there are reviews for Gran Turismo games. Um,
Yes.
so this is already the second delay for it. It's supposed to be a first half of 2021 game, and then it got
Yes.
delayed to second half, and now it's 2022. Which whatever, it's fine. I mean, we're not complaining. It's just funny, just like how remember like the Gran Turismo on PS3 got delayed years, multiple times. Got delayed. It
Oh
went
my
from being
God,
like
yes.
it's like a 2008 game to I think it came out like 2011. Like it
It
got
came out in
delayed.
2011. It was
Yeah,
literally a couple of years before the
yeah,
PS4 came out,
yeah.
and I know it was that thing had its own troubles,
They ended up putting
but
out. I remember they
yeah,
put out like the prequel type game. There was like just as a
Prelude.
make the prelude. Yeah, like we got like all right, guys. It's basically like here's a full price demo essentially, and then
It
the
was a
full
full
game.
price though. That's right.
Then the game will eventually come out. And it's like I think we had one Gran Turismo game on PS4. Did we even have a Gran Turismo game on
Yes, we
PS4?
did have a Gran
Okay,
Turismo on PS4, and that was Gran Turismo Sport.
okay, yeah, okay. So we had one, but it's like I don't know. You look at the history of PlayStation with driving games. It's not great anymore. I mean, with Gran Turismo, yeah, you say it's a marquee title, but it's like the like I said, the last decade or more of Gran Turismo game is being delayed more so than the games they put out. Because you like what I think PS1 and PS2 there was 5 on those two consoles alone. Obviously, games were a lot easier to make back then, but it's like
Let's see, Gran Turismo. In retrospect, two Gran Turismo games, I believe, on
on one.
PS1, two on PS2, which was like 3 and 4, and then I think it was
Oh,
five on PS3,
was
and
5 on
then
PS3? Okay.
six as well. I think was on PS3.
Well, no,
So
because
I think it
then
was
Sport so Sport's
yes,
not
and
numbered.
then
Okay.
Sport is
Okay.
not numbered, but it was on PS4. So there's really like one or two a generation,
Yeah.
when
So,
essentially.
but we had one last generation. So yeah. So we're talking about we've had
Yes.
one last decade. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, this was the thing. This boggles me more and more than anything about like driving games are always the showpiece of new consoles. Like
Exactly.
there's always that thing with when new consoles come out. I mean, this year's a little obviously this generation starting up was a little different because there's always the family game, there's the big hardcore game, and then there's the fucking driving game that really show it off. Um,
Case in point, Xbox Series X, and they had dirt and
mhm.
stuff advertising in
Yeah,
regards to the whole showcase.
or usually they have a
You know,
Forza or like you look at like PS4 supposed to have Drive Club, and that's a whole another. I mean, that's where I like places like driving games on PlayStation have not had a good run the last decade. You look at Drive Club,
no,
how bad that turned out to be. And then you look at, I mean, just like Gran Turismo, like I said, and it's just that's what blows my mind. But this one being cross console, where it's like, this is the thing that's supposed to show off how pretty and powerful these things are. This is more. I still would bet money if I had like $10, if like someone gave me $10 or said, hey, you have to bet $10 real money this is coming out 2022 or 2023. I would bet 2023. That's how little I trust anything that happens to Gran Turismo
Very
in release
true.
dates. So I mean, we're talking. This is gonna be cross generation, and this is easily a year plus away, 12 to 18 months away.
That what kind of makes me think that potentially the PS4 version of it is probably going to be canceled
I hope
outright
so. I
because
mean,
I do not believe one moment if it's set up to like 2023 that they're going to have a PS4 version of Gran Turismo 7. I mean that at that point the console would already be pretty much dead in
yeah,
that regards.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the same way I feel about all the like. I'm not like I understand you still want to support them. I understand third party supporting because it's not the third party's job to sell the new consoles. And I
Yes.
wonder if it'd be. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're talking about how like the semiconductor thing could be an issue all of next year. So maybe that's why they're looking at it, prolonging this whole idea of putting these games on both consoles. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if like things change and we're able to get more of these things out here, because I mean, like the PS5 is as hard as it get. It is outpacing what the PS4 has done. So
Right.
it's not like it's not like they're not making any. It's just the demand is so much higher than where the PS4 and the Xbox One was right now. That's like they're making them faster than they were last time, but it's just so much like everybody. There's more people that want them. This in 2021 compared to 2023 or 2013.
All right. So moving on. This is our last topic for this episode and this is definitely an interesting way to end this one, and this involves Horizon Forbidden West. So the game is, according to developers, on track to release in 2021. We most recently had a state of play which predominantly focused upon the gameplay aspect, and it looks like it's definitely coming along fairly well. Tyler and I know we both were fairly impressed about what we did see in regards to the whole
Mm-hmm.
gameplay experience in terms of the whole fidelity, the cinematics in this regards and stuff. Personally, I'm kind of a little bit worried in this because they did not give a concrete like date then, but at the same time, they're still saying it's on track for 2021. There's no real guarantees it will release in 2021. I get the feeling this game is going to be delayed a little bit further in order to push like a solid beginning of 2022.
Yeah,
And the reason why I kind of feel that is like it looks like from a lot of this gameplay that we did see, it was a good like scope of concept, but at the same point, I kind of feel like that there were definitely going to be more, maybe some more changes going along the way to try to like that's just better emphasize stuff. I mean, I can't really support what I initially am thinking at this moment, but it's like I just have the feeling where it may be pushed into 2022. But
yeah. I mean, I obviously the fan of me of loving Horizon One wants it sooner rather than later. I mean, we're all
yeah,
like that's how we all about like. But obviously, like you got like Herman said, it's like we don't want to kill our staff, and we want this game to come out as good as possible. So obviously, I'd rather wait 2, 3, 4 more, whatever month, however long I gotta wait, it's fine. Um, I look at it from this. I'm already thinking Game of the Year 2022. If we got
mm.
fucking Breath of the Wild, God of War, and fucking Horizon 2, here's my thing. For Horizon's sake, I hope if Breath of the Wild gets announced for this year, push it. Just fucking push it. Just don't let Nintendo do this to you again. Just push it. And if they say Breath of the Wild 2 is 2022, everybody stop. Naughty Dog, stop what you're doing. Fucking Santa Monica Studio, stop what you're doing. Fucking Firewalk Studio, stop what you're doing. Haven Studio, I know you literally don't have a logo yet. Stop what you're doing. We need everybody on board. We need to get this son of a bitch out now. We need it next week. We need it out as soon as possible. We can't let Nintendo fuck us again. You know that
Oh
game sells
god.
extremely well. The story everybody always talks about. That game came out, was doing really good for 3 days, and then boom, here goes the fucking Switch and Breath of the Wild and killed it. Not for me, obviously. I think it's 7
Yeah,
games
Breath of the
better.
Wild was partly the reason why I did not invest a lot of time in
Yeah,
Horizon
that's
Zero
the case for a
Dawn
lot of people.
back then.
There's a lot of people that played it a year later or 2 years later, like, oh, this game's fucking fantastic. I'm like, I fucking know, it was my game of the goddamn year for the best game this fucking year ever. It was the
I
best
know.
game.
I'm in that part too where I bought the game and I did
God.
not play through it. I played some bit of it, but I got sucked back into Breath of the Wild because
Yeah, see, it's funny.
that's it.
I was the opposite. I played I remember I took the Monday after. I remember the Switch came out on March 3rd. It was a Friday.
Yes.
and I think it was like the Horizon came out the Tuesday before that. And I remember I scheduled the Monday off after because I was like working like 75 hours a week. I told my boss
Oh yeah.
I see a day off soon, and I was like I'm just gonna take this Monday off. I was straight up honest. I'm like the new Nintendo console comes out. I barely get to play games. I just want to sit at home and just play some fucking games. I don't want to like I'll work Saturday, but just give me a Sunday, Monday off. That's all I need. I got it off, and my plan was I'm gonna play Breath of the Wild. I played like 2 hours Breath of the Wild. I put it back down. Brand new Switch console, brand new Breath of the Wild. I remember I spent that entire fucking weekend. I was one guy did the opposite. I played a couple hours of Breath of the Wild, went back to Horizon. When everybody else
Wow.
played a couple hours of Horizon, Breath of the Wild came out, never played it again. I'm the one person that was in the world that probably did the opposite, where I played Breath of the Wild. I'm like, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go play this game over here instead. And I just don't want that to happen again. I just and also like I said, I don't want game like this is what I said last year when we were talking about after the PlayStation event where they announced Horizon and God of War and said 2021 for those. I was like, I hope one gets delayed because I don't want to pick between the two. I don't want to like when Game of the Year comes because they're going to be high on my list unless they fuck up totally. They're going to be high. They're going to be 1 and 1A on my list. And I don't. Daddy doesn't want to pick a favorite kid. I don't want to be like the end of that one movie with Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin. I can't remember
Oh
the name of the
no.
movie where like the mom's holding both and they're on the edge of the cliff, but like Macaulay Culkin's like a shitty kid and she's got to decide she can't keep both. She's got to let one go. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that mom hanging over having Horizon and God of War hanging over the side and I got to fucking let one go and pick the other one. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't have it in me. And I'm not. I'm
Oh
a weak
God.
man, Gables. I'm a weak man.
You know what? I would not be surprised if the reason why they go through and they're delaying it or may delay it is they're probably trying to wait and see what Nintendo does with Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, right. That's
I
probably the
highly
game's
actually
probably
that you
done. They're
mentioned it,
just
it makes a hell of a lot of sense
the
because like what you stated, I could just see them just sitting in their chairs or something at their offices and stuff like that, just watching the Nintendo conference. Like, okay, Breath of the Wild 2, when are they going to release? Okay, then not okay. No, they're showing it right now. When's it going to be released? Okay, 2022. Let's literally come on.
all
Let's
right.
go. Let's go. Let's
Like
go. Code
10
Red. Code
minutes
Red. Let's release it this year.
10 minutes later, September. Boom, done. It's like they have like 3 tweets typed out ready to go. It's like, all right, delayed to 2022, come in September. Like that's it. That like, oh okay,
Oh
Breath of the
God.
Wild's coming out in September. Fuck it. Push it to 2022. We're just going to we're wiping our hands of it. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Zelda is a juggernaut and I don't like it will get buried. It come out. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
I think what would be even hilarious is if even if Nintendo goes through and does that and stuff, and they end up having to delay it anyway to 2022, the same
Don't
year.
do this.
So
Okay.
that would be
Gables,
fucking hilarious.
if I have to put Breath of the Wild 2 7 spots below Horizon again in 2022, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
And they'll be just, and then Horizon will just be under God of War Ragnarok.
I still remember the face Justin made at me when I put Breath of the Wild 7th on my list.
I remember that. That was such a funny moment.
What was funny, I remember about that one was like I asked you guys, like before going in, I'm like, what do you guys think our game of the year is? And we all guessed what we thought everybody's game of the year was. And it's like yours was Odyssey, Justin was Breath of the Wild, and I remember you both picked Breath of the Wild, and I'm just looking at you guys, I'm like, number 7, Breath of the Wild. I was just like, and you're like, what the fuck? The look on like the side look that Justin gave me is like, motherfucker, really? Really? Yeah, so I'll do it again. I'll do it again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been an episode.
Well, before we get out, do we want to talk about our I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you want to do our E3 plans real fast to let everybody
Yeah.
know what our plans are?
Yes, not a problem. I thought we could do it like maybe the start of the next show. But
Well, I think we do.
it.
I figure we do it there too as a reminder because the next show is gonna come out a couple days later. So
All right, fair point. So for the next episode, we're gonna give you a little bit of a preview right here. We're gonna be doing our E3 prediction show. So basically, how we have it set up, there are 5 conferences that we're keeping track of. So we have Ubisoft, we have Microsoft, we have Bethesda, Square Enix, and Nintendo. So what we are doing is having a little bit of a guessing game. Our predictions, each of us get 3 predictions per conference. One is what I'm going to be dubbing it the double D point. And
I like that.
that one is worth 2 points. So for the double D point, this is exactly what ends up happening. If we get it right, we get an additional point. But if we get it wrong, that's 1 point subtracted. So we could end up with scenarios, say, that maybe we are in a difference of about a point, or maybe someone may be up by about 3 or 4 points.
Yeah.
Hell, sky's the limit, man. It's like E3's next week. We could potentially have leaks even after the show gets up on the up for you listeners to go through and giving us a listen to. It's a wild card sort of week. It's E3 season. It's so much fun in order to get this through. Just making sure I didn't miss anything in that regards,
Yeah.
though.
Well, yeah. So we have that going on, and then we're just run through our plans for E3. I figured as well, just to let people know.
All right. So for our plans of E3, basically we're going through, like I just stated previously, we're watching through those 5 conferences. But the whole meat and potatoes of it, the loser of these predictions has to play through Night Trap.
Yes, and stream it.
And they have to stream it. That's correct. They have to stream it all the way through. So this game is not particularly long. Sure, you could go through and look up guides or whatsoever to go through and get that experience as well.
Mm-mm.
But but the point being is, we thought it'd be kind of fun to go through and have a little bit of a thing. It's like, okay, if we lose, who's going to be playing a terrible game? And so Night Trap was already decided. All of us know that. I know, Tyler, you have personally bought it when it was on sale. I haven't personally
$7.
bought it. Yeah, that's how confident I am. I haven't bought it yet.
Well, the sale's over if you because it's $15 again. So.
Well, you know what? If I have to take the L, I'll have to take the L. If I'm not the winner of this. I mean, hell, I did it with Pitter Pot. Oh.
Yeah. I was thinking about this afterwards. I'm like, man, maybe we should have picked Balan Wonderworld. That would have been.
Oh no! Oh no, dude!
It's on sale for $35 on PS5 right now.
Oh my god! I'd rather be passing the kidney stone than play that game right now.
Oh, don't say
Anyway.
that. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think. No, I'd rather play Balan Wonderworld.
Oh yeah, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that in and of itself is our E3 things that we're going to be doing in the next episode. I love to thank a lot of you guys are going to listen to us. But before we go, let me go ahead and tell you people what platforms and what things that we are on. So, in that regards, for Twitter, I know it's like Drunk Podcast. No, wait a second.
DrunkNerds Pod.
DrunkNerds Podcast. Yeah, I'm still looking at the Google Doc. Sometimes that's a tendency of just scrolling through so quickly I don't even get that crap. Come on. Literally just had it just a moment ago. Just go through. Okay, here we go. So from the top, on Twitter, it's Drunk Nerds Pod. On Facebook, Drunk-Nerds. Twitch, Drunk Nerds Podcast. On YouTube, it is Drunk-Nerds. And on Spotify, Drunk-Nerds Podcast. For those of you that were watching on Twitch, thank you. For those of you that will be listening to us eventually, satisfying the needs of your gaming fix, we thank you. And most importantly of all that, I have been your host for this week, Colonel Gables.
And I've been Tyler.
So, until next time, everyone, I hope you have yourself a fun time. I hope you play yourself a lot of fun games. And most importantly, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds Podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yes.
Too sweet, brother.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.